dark hour on a day when the 4 schools from the Pac-12 became official. We heard from Bill Riley, voice of Utah. Also, Matt McChesney of Colorado, former defensive lineman, and Stevenson Sylvester, former linebacker at Utah, now joins us, and their sideline reporter on 365 Sports. Stevenson, thanks for your time. We had Bill Riley on about a half hour ago, and he gave us a couple of nuggets. I want to start. I know today's the official day for Utah and the Big 12, but tell us about your clothing line that you started.
My brand line is called Utah Man. So, the Utah Man fight song is called Utah Man. A lot of Utah fans really understand what it means to be a Utah man. And so my clothing line really started with from the Sugar Bowl. There was a pose after we sacked Alabama's quarterback and kind of incorporated that with the Utah logo. And it's really taken off, man. So it's going to be a big dip. I partnered with Under Armour and the university to get this thing rolling, and it's going to be awesome.
Do you have a website you can throw out there for us?
Yeah, it'll be up later on this month. It's called utahman.co.
Okay.
Not up just yet, but it'll be up later on this month.
All right, I wanted to give a plug to that, and we appreciate it. And thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate it.
There was, it seemed like, when the Pac-12 was kind of unraveling, and even when they did, that there were some fans from Utah that seemed like they were upset about leaving the Pac-12, and rightfully so. They'd done really well in football, had a great tradition in the short amount of time. What do you think today means to Utah overall, the athletic department, now that this is official, even though we've known this now for over a year?
Well, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Where the Pac-12 was thriving. We had 6 teams in the top 25 for the majority of the year, and we were doing amazing things. We were striving every single year, getting better. More and more often we were getting the CFP conversation, and with this extended playoffs, there are going to be a potential 3 or 4 Pac-12 teams to make it in there. It was what the Pac-12 was looking like, but conversations happened. Where I just felt like there was a lot of misunderstanding across the board from a lot of people, from the networks and media standpoint to the conference and universities. And next thing you know, people started bouncing, and money pays. And so once you get one to fall out, then people were like, okay, let me explore. And then there's other options. And so things just started to fall apart. And luckily, we were able to be a part of a good conference, right? It wasn't guaranteed that we were going to be able to go to a good conference. And, the Big 12 has just had so much history, throughout the years with all of its outstanding accolades and championships over the years. And I think the 4 teams that joined the Big 12 was a huge honor. One, I think Colorado has familiarity, but with Arizona State, and us, I think this is just huge stepping stone for all of our universities. And what I think in the next, 8 to 10 years is going to be a major NFL type of landscape where there's going to be a couple conferences going head to head and really fighting for that title every year.
Well, I mean, of course, there's a school you're probably not familiar with, BYU. They're in it too. I can't wait for that one to work out. But as a former player and someone so invested in it, is there a team from the Big 12 that you joined, not one of the ones that came with you, but outside of BYU, because we know that you feel that you are excited about playing a lot, or that fans are maybe circling a little bit?
Well, no, I mean, it's really the entire conference. I think my conversation myself, there's just tons of places I haven't been that I grew up watching and wanted to experience. Going down to Lubbock, Texas, and visiting Texas Tech and getting that atmosphere down there. We grew up on movies like Friday Night Lights and movies like that where Texas is everything. Texas football is everything. I had a conversation a couple years ago with a guy at Media Days that came from that area, and he's like, literally, there is absolutely nothing going on. Everything shuts down. It's football time from high school to college. That's all there. So places like Stillwater, places like Lubbock is places that we all want to experience and get new experiences with. And so I think that's something where Utah fans travel, and then we will travel well and represent our university in those cities. But those are things that I'm looking forward to experiencing.
So you got to Utah in 2006, the year after Kyle Whittingham's first year as head coach. Just what was that like? Is his vision, and I know he was there prior, but just as his head coaching vision for the program, has that started to take off? I know there's probably some rocky spots at the beginning, but what was it like to play for him and just to be a part of that era of Utah football?
Well, I mean, we benefited because Coach Whittingham had already been coaching for almost 20 years at that point. 20 plus years at that point. And so he probably had his whole playbook. And remember the water boy, he had his little playbook on him all day. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, but how to implement it and how to do it. I think that was a rough start for him. You know, I was his first recruiting class. I know he took over in 2005, but the first class that he was in charge of recruiting, you know, I was one of those guys. So I've always felt honored that I was one of his first is what I would say. And I just know that, you know, he had some growing pains when we first started from, you know, just understanding how much input he had to have. You know, even with my days with the Steelers, the good years and bad years was like, okay, how much do I let the players handle? How much do I let the coaches handle? How much input do I get? Where do I sit as the head coach? And I think that took some years to figure out. And then 2008, we went undefeated. And I think that's where he really got his groove as far as understanding, okay, if I want to have championship level teams, if I want to have good teams, good leadership teams, good men after the fact, this is where I have to stand. So it took him a couple of years to get that out. But, you know, he's a fast learner, and he's one who wants success and wants success all the time. So he was willing to adjust. And I think any good coach that's willing to adjust and kind of change with the times, I think will always have success.
He seems to be someone that is tough as nails, or doesn't seem to be. He is as tough as nails. He knows what he expects from the player, but then also, does he have just enough of a soft side, Stevenson, that you kind of feel like he has your back?
Oh, man, yeah. One thing, it's his humor. He has a really unique humor because I remember – I think it was 2008 or 2009. He kind of had to take over the linebacker room for a little bit. And he had some meetings, but he would say some of the funniest stuff and really, you know, bring some light into the room. And that's where we were just like, okay, we could joke around with Coach Whit. He's good. You know, he's human. You know, he's not a machine. But I think his humor and his ability to relate to the players, he can bring in some new jokes and bring in some old jokes. But one thing is, like, you just understand that he wants to win, and he loves to be a part of success. And one of the greatest things is that as a player, you know, he cares about you. Even to this day, he can remember the time where he went and recruited me in Las Vegas. I think it was just last year where I asked him about it, and he remembered coming to my classroom back in 2005 to recruit me. And the conversations we had back in the day, and he knows my family, knows my mom, knows my little brother, knows my sister. He knows those little things. And as a player, that's what you want to know is, does somebody care about me? You know, it's the little things. And I think Coach Whittingham really embraces that and understands that. And it's one part of his personality, so it's easy to him. But I think that was one of the biggest things to get a lot of his players to buy in over the years.
You are on the Big 12 Advisory Council. What do you advise them on? What does that role entail?
Man, it's a tremendous honor. First off, you know, the names on that list. I didn't even think that I would be a part of something like that, but to know that I am truly honored. But it's mostly the voice of the athletes, right? So I will be really close to the athletes here at the University of Utah of all sports, and speaking on their behalf on what they need, what they want, and a voice from a former athlete. What was it like when I was a player, and what do I need to experience? And that's what I really appreciate about the Big 12 is they want to make sure that the experience is awesome. They want to make sure that the universities, even the new universities, have the best experience with the Big 12. And I think that's just a step in the right direction in getting a voice for the players. So I'm almost like an athlete liaison voice to be able to articulate that in the mass form. And then we all come from all the universities come together and we make decisions. And so It's kind of just on decisions on what in the best interest of the conference is for these athletes and coaches and universities. And so I just feel tremendously honored to even be a part of those conversations. And it's going to be a fun road ahead.
Yeah, that was a really cool idea by your marketing company, and you're right. It's a very, very cool list. If you run into RG3 before we get to talk to him again, tell him we said hello, Sylvester. We'd appreciate that. But
I got you.
For folks who travel out to Salt Lake for a game at Rice Eccles Stadium, what can they expect?
Man, well, Utah people are amazing. I'm telling you, we recruited. We're from all over the country, Florida, Texas. I'm from Las Vegas, California. And when you meet Utah people, they are genuinely amazing people, nice. And you're just going to get a great atmosphere here in the city, especially the landscape. I think more people will be in awe of what the visuals look like. We're right up against, the Rocky Mountains. And I just think that there's an echo too, how loud the stadium is, and the mountains are right there, so it just comes back in. But aside from the weather, it's just a tremendous atmosphere. The additions that we've made to our stadium are top tier, and I just think everybody's going to have a tremendous experience. Tailgating is awesome. You go around, everybody's just nice. It's a good competitive atmosphere. Don't get it wrong. Utah people talk smack, but it's all in good fun, good in competition. So I think anybody who comes, you're going to have an amazing time when you come here. Beautiful scenery, beautiful people. And you're just going to have an amazing time at a football game.
So what are your expectations with what appears to be the favorite with Kansas State? And there's 2 to 3 other schools, programs that right there at the top about how you rank the Big 12. Where would you put Utah? What are your expectations? What would be considered a successful season?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, right? I'm a realist. Yes, I'm a homer. I love my Utes. I could talk all day about them, but if I don't think my Utes are good enough, I will let you know. But with the way our schedule is lined out, with who we play, when we play them, the time of years that we play them, the bye weeks that we have, our schedule aligns for success for us, along with our personnel, right? I think it starts at the top, right? Any programs needs to have a good leadership, and that's, our coaching staff and administration. We have an intact coaching staff and administration that has worked together for years, played together, right? And I think that it's just an amazing start at that point, and then it trickles down into the leaders of the team. Everybody knows you need a quarterback. You guys know for sure RG3 was the reason you guys had a lot of success. Without him there, those couple of years, I don't know if you would have had that success. So we have Cam Rising at the helm. He's like a 12th year quarterback. He knows the system, extremely comfortable. Had a year to heal up, is feeling 100%. I watched him during the pro day, and it was more of a workout for him than the outgoing seniors. It was crazy. So he's extremely confident, extremely accurate, and the biggest thing, he's a playmaker. And so he has a favorite target. He loves Brent Keithy, but he can spread the ball around. He wants to win as well. And I think it all starts with him. Once him, and then it'll trickle down into the defense, into special teams. And, everybody's playing for one another. So I absolutely love what Utah had coming into each game. But the biggest reason why I think Utah is rated number 1 coming into the season is because of the way the schedule lines out. We have some great warm-up games. It sucks that Baylor is not a conference game. It's actually an exhibition game this year. But we have them at home. And, the Utah atmosphere, I think we have 12 straight years of sellout crowds. But I think we've only lost like 5 games in the last 10 years at home. I don't know that statistic thoroughly, but we win at home, and that's huge. And I think a majority of the games that we have that are important are all at home this year. The only game that's going to be huge trouble that we don't know that on the road is in Stillwater at Oklahoma State. So I just think that the way the schedule is lined up for us this year, Southern Utah, Baylor, Utah State, Oklahoma State, Arizona, and then a bye week, I just think that just bodes well for our success to where we can finish the season strong and ready and healthy entering the Big 12 championship and college football playoffs.
So you play with the Steelers, and we know their mentality. and teams that have that mentality. Is that the franchise? And there's others that have that grit, but was that the perfect place for you to go based on what the personality is or the identity is of Utah to go play for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, man, I don't think a lot of people understand. It was so funny when I first got to the Steelers. You know, Steelers defense is not easy to understand. They are one of the most cerebral defenses and how you have to operate from. It's almost like an offense the way the defense was. But what the defense we did and how we did it, Kalani Sitake was my coach at Utah, Gary Anderson, and this was Coach Whittingham's system. It's what he's coached as a defense coordinator before he became the head coach. But learning the system, learning the techniques, learning the verbiage was the exact same thing as I headed into the Steelers. And that's why I was able to have success my rookie year and go all the way to the Super Bowl with the Steelers, was because I knew a lot of the things already at Utah. So, yes, that mentality that Coach Whittingham has is the same mentality as the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin over there. So it was a very easy transition for me to the NFL because of what I learned at Utah. So Utah does it the right way. A lot of Big 12 teams are going to understand and know that Utah plays tough defense first because we have a defensive-minded head coach. And if we don't have good defense, we don't have anything. So being one of the leaders on the Utah defense for all those years, it just boded well for me in the NFL.
All right, so here we are. This is the official day with Arizona, Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah. So much has changed in college athletics, and as we brought up a part of the Big 12 Advisory Council, can you fathom really all that has changed as a former player that was not available to you when you played?
No, man, I didn't. I didn't even realize, this was only something that I felt like only 10 schools out of the country could actually do. I come from little Las Vegas, not a big football city, and able to go to the University of Utah. They had just won the Fiesta Bowl a couple years, so I thought that was a luxury. But just understanding where Utah came from to the point to where we couldn't even get a cracker from the staff, or that was some kind of violation. So now these guys are getting lobsters and fillets and all kinds of different meals and NIL monies and all this other stuff. There's just so many things that has transpired over the years, but it's the growth of the game, right? You got to think like everything, you want everything to evolve. Just like for your kids, you want your kids to have it better than you had it when you were their age. And that's the same thing that a lot of us alumni want. We want our university to have it better than we had it. And what we can side with as a benefit for us is that we contributed to that, right? We contributed to that progression, to that evolution of University of Utah and everything that has came through the day, and to be a part of, the Big 12. Big 12 was huge for me growing up. Some of the best schools as Texas, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Kansas back in the day. This was just an amazing conference, and to know that we're a part of it now is something that a lot of people didn't anticipate. But, every single year, anything that happens, we're rolling with the punches, and we're just excited to be here.
Stevenson, thanks for your time. We do appreciate you. And look forward to having you on a couple of different times, maybe the week before Baylor in Utah in early September. Thanks for your time, and welcome to the Big 12, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Smokey. You got my number. Hit me up.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And so tried to bring you a little bit of that